every single one of you, by voting conscience, that's how you change things. You change things by voting for who you believe in.
So long and thanks for all the fish. So sad that it should come to this. We tried to warn you all, but oh dear, you may not share our intellect, which might explain your disrespect for all the natural wonders that grow around you. So long and thanks for all the fish.
Hey everybody, welcome to what will actually be the last Mr. Johnson's Libertyhood. I know it's hard to believe on the twisting and turning road we've been on together through this journey, of course, which was wrought with many horrors, like Bill Weld, of course, popping his face out of the damn freezer all the time, causing rivets in the road that's derailing everything. And of course, Gary's own failure from a mental standpoint didn't exactly help, but still, we're here. We're going to look back. We're going to look back this episode. We're going to remember the fond times, which were few and far between. We're going to examine the election, all that good stuff. It's going to be a good time. And by the way, speaking of good times, you can always find good times at the Lions of Liberty website. And this show, you can find the show notes at lionsofliberty.com/262. That's this show. Bingo bango. There's not going to be a lot of show notes there because I'm not going to be discussing 15 different media items. We're just going to basically be jibber-jabbing on, and chatting about things. Who, you might ask, am I chatting with? Well, somebody who's shockingly popular on this show. I still don't understand it. It's much like the Trump phenomenon. He's got secret support out there somehow. He's not polling well, but yet he comes through in the clutch every time. The one and the only Rico. Hey, Rico.
What's up, buddy? To quote the great Ric Flair, it's with a tear in my eye that I appear on the last Gary Johnson's Libertyhood.
Oh, I know. It's so
That's not
sad.
a direct quote. I kind of cut and paste because he never actually mentioned.
Ric Flair himself didn't say that. Yeah.
Just half of it.
It's just the Libertyhood part, shockingly enough.
Yes. He's a big fan.
Who isn't? So yeah, we gotta look back. Yeah, Hillary Clinton's not a fan of everything or anything right now. You know what Hillary Clinton wasn't a fan of? Class last night, where she left however many thousand Hillary Clinton supporters sitting there in her, where was it? The Javits Center with the glass ceiling. It was supposed to be this big symbolic thing they were going to do. All these people are there for like 10, 12 hours until 2 a.m. waiting, even though it looks like they're going to lose. They're weeping openly in the seats, weeping like the people listening to this podcast are weeping because it is coming to an end. And yet Hillary Clinton can't get the guts to go out and face her own supporters to tell them, hey, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to count the rest of the votes. We're not giving up yet. No. She has to send out John Podesta. Detestable.
It's kind of understandable in the sense that she lost an election she's been preparing for probably since her failed run in 2008, and she lost to Donald Trump. It's kind of like if the Patriots got to pick their Super Bowl opponents and lost to the Browns. Like, how do you explain that to your fans? You can't. You need at least a day to try to think of something to say, and I think that's what happened to Hillary.
I think you're right. I think you actually nailed it right on the head there, that she was like, I did not see this possibility coming. Like, she probably couldn't even mentally come to grips with it. Like, her reality was shattered. Like, I just saw Doctor Strange. Great movie. The universe is folding on itself. Buildings are turning sideways. That was what was happening with Hillary, even more so than usual because of her, whatever it has, vertigo / the flu bug / pneumonia, whatever she's always coming down with.
But it's just crazy. Like, she wanted to face Donald Trump in this election. Like,
it was in the emails that they were setting it up for this. Yeah.
It was like her dream scenario. Like, who could she not lose to? This guy who just talks out of his ass and doesn't know any policies that offends most people. And yet she lost to him. It's insane.
And technically, Donald Trump does offend most people by 0.02%, I believe, is the popular vote, although electoral college-wise, he has actually crushed Hillary Clinton. But, let's talk about that because, Gary Johnson, let's just throw in an afterthought there, did not get 5%, which is what he needed to get funding, which that's a big debate whether or not we should take it. It's a moot point now because we're not going to get it, obviously. But Gary Johnson pulled like 3%. Whoop-de-doo-dah day. We'll come back to that. But for now, I just want to talk a little bit about this whole, the Trump phenomenon. And I've seen a lot of explanations for it. What do you think is the explanation, Rico? And then I'll give you my take on it.
Well, I think the description of it as being a phenomenon is quite overblown. From what I read, he actually got less votes than Romney did in 2012 and McCain did in 2008. Now, perhaps that's before all the votes are counted, but I don't think it was some kind of sweeping the nation phenomenon. I think it was just a general dislike of Hillary Clinton to really explain it. People did not like her. They did not like the portrayal of, this is what's good for you. Just everything that's happened in the last 8 years, the people that were voting were more motivated to not see a continuation or to vote for a middle finger to, everyone who said, well, Clinton's the best choice. So I think like I said, there was no phenomenon. It was just kind of an anti-Clinton wave that I think propelled him to win this thing.
I see. I think it's more than that. I mean, I agree completely that anti-Clinton, because I know I was vehemently against Hillary Clinton. She's the worst. She's just the absolute goddamned worst. But apart from that, I think it goes farther back. You'd mentioned the last 8 years. I think just the people that are in rural America, or not even let's just say small businessmen, really, who've been getting screwed over time and time again by regulations, by Obamacare, popping up premiums they got to pay for people. In every way, corporate tax going up. In every way, small business, rural, they're just getting screwed. And not only screwed, but they're getting belittled constantly, a constant stream of belittlement. Like I was reading this great article that I'll link to, that Vox piece I posted in our Lions of Liberty forum, which, by the way, you should come join the Lions of Liberty Forum. Just go to Facebook, type in Lions of Liberty Forum. Boom, you're in. If you're not a psychopath, we will approve you. And if you are a psychopath, hey, maybe we'll keep you around for a lark. But I posted a piece in the forum, and it was basically a whole article by a liberal talking about liberal smugness and this whole concept of, well, you don't know what's good for you. You're not educated. You don't realize you haven't read up. You don't know the issues. And this positioning of this, just be snubbing their nose at these people for years and years and years. And that has built up so much resentment that they're like, fuck you, trump it up.
No, I agree with that. And I also think, you look at the candidates and Trump has been portrayed perhaps a little bit overboard as, racist, misogynistic, xenophobic. There's probably elements of all of that, but I know he's not the apocalyptic candidate that he's made out to be. I don't think we should be expecting nuclear bombs to be raining down all over the world in 3 months.
No.
He's certainly egotistical, but I don't see him as a murderous psychopath. One thing in his favor, I don't know how much you want to give to this, but he seems kind of like a normal family man, as much as you can for probably being on his
having 18 families. Yeah.
Yeah. But his kids seem remarkably well adjusted for whatever.
Considering they were, born into this trust fund baby, silver spoon madness that usually you see people just become drug addicted, Corvette crash victims,
Yeah. So he must have done something well. And on Hillary's side too, it seems like Chelsea's pretty well adjusted as well. But Clinton
she was the one calling out the foundation. Amazing. She's like, Mom, maybe we shouldn't be taking all this money from foreign governments. Doesn't look good.
A huge disappointment to her parents on that one.
We thought we raised you right. You keep the books shut and you keep your mouth shuttered.
But Clinton is just so transparently corrupt that I just did not want to see her win.
No,
because if you could be that corrupt and win an election where you're in bed with the media. You're basically given a pass to the Democratic nomination. You get to kind of manipulate to see who you want to run against, at least in some small part. And her policies have not been very noble.
No, not at all. And they change accordingly to, however they need. But yeah, go finish up.
And I think part of the problem is that the Democrats have to look in the mirror, one, because of that whole kind of elitist attitude that a decent percentage of them show, and two, because they did not really get their candidate organically.
Yeah.
I think if the nomination process were completely fair, that you might not have seen Hillary even win her nomination to begin with. So you might have had a different candidate in there who would have beaten Trump, but you got Trump or Clinton shoved down people's throat like, this is your candidate, this is who's going to be president, and it all seems so preordained, and people did not want to see that.
Yeah, you don't want to see a crowning of a king. Well, and also, here's why. I was rooting for Trump. I believe you were also rooting for Trump because we know Gary Johnson's not going to win. So I'm rooting for him to get the numbers, but I was rooting for Trump to come out on top when it's between the two of them. And honestly, if I was looking at it from a neutral standpoint, looking at pure policy experience, I might say, well, Hillary Clinton, I guess, makes the most sense because she spent time doing this and that. Granted, her record is terrible, by the way. She's accomplished nothing as a senator. Her foreign policy has been disastrous, so maybe I wouldn't have. But let's just say compared to Trump, who has no record. So maybe on an even playing field, I would say maybe I would root for Hillary. But her supporters and the way they've carried themselves this whole time turned me so against her. Like I said, the corruption, the emails, the fact that she never addressed it, the fact that she didn't speak to the media for weeks after this came out. She was above it. It was below her consideration. And then all her supporters, you bring this stuff up. You cite all of the history she has oppressing minorities with the bills that Clinton did, opposing gay marriage, opposing medical marijuana, opposing all of these progressive things. And they put their fingers in their ears and they go, no. I mean, I was talking to this one gal I know, friends with her. She was ridiculous. She was crazy. She goes, I told her, I listed up all these well-reported facts. And she goes, no, you're wrong. Check your sources. You need to, like I was saying earlier, like I'm the uneducated one. I'm like, bitch, I spent all day reading this. It's just that mentality, the supporters' refusal to acknowledge that they chose a candidate who is so heavily flawed and so unlikable, and they just can't believe that you didn't vote for her because she's a woman and we need a woman president. Just blows my mind.
It's crazy. And the crying that took place yesterday, I mean, I can't imagine
ever crying
having a candidate. I mean, I only cry over sports. Like,
yeah, me too.
But not over politics.
And when dogs get killed in movies. That's the other thing.
But to have such blind faith in her of all people that, you're devastated when she loses, is like, what are you looking at where you think she's like a good person?
Well, and also, why would you tie yourself in? How do you identify your own being so closely with this woman and her record? And it's like these people, they buy into it. They have no knowledge of the legislative process and what the president can and can't do. It's like, even if she was put in there, she's not going to, what do you expect her to do? Other than being a woman, it's just going to be the same shit that we've had for the last few years, except more wars in all likelihood,
Yeah, and then the meltdown after Trump won is, you're seeing all kinds of protests, mass protests,
hatred on Facebook. People, I've seen so many posts from these liberals that liberal friends, because I live in LA, which is 95 goddamn degrees here today, by the way, in the middle of November. But I live in LA, so I'm surrounded by blue. Everybody's a liberal here. It's unabashed. And the posts on Facebook is like, prideful, saying, I've unfriended so many Trump supporters today. Those intolerant bigots. And it's like, do you have no sense of irony? Do you not understand that you are the most intolerant person, that you're unfriending people because they voted for somebody because they might think slightly different than you? You don't know the reasons for supporting Trump. They probably weren't a racist, or you probably wouldn't have been friends with them, would you? You think they became a racist overnight?
apparently the country did become racist overnight because the last 8 years, I believe we had a black president.
I did too. And I think he won with 70% of the vote. So what happened?
Yeah, who didn't just sneak by. He was pretty, handily won those 2 elections. So
the racist pod people came in and replaced 25% of the population with racists overnight.
Yeah. So apparently, the country took a massive U-turn and said, well, you know what? We're racist again. It worked for us in the past, and we got some nostalgia, so let's all be racist.
Those were the good old days. Yeah.
No, maybe there were other things at play, and I'm sure there was a few. Obviously, there's a few races, but that's not why Trump won. It's not because America just became racist again.
Yeah, and it's not because everybody likes to say it was a white backlash and white males drove this whole thing, but there were women voting for Trump. And you know what? There were more Hispanics that voted for Trump than voted for Romney. 35% of Hispanics voted for Trump. So what? They're self-hating? They're self-hating people?
And he also got a larger percentage of the black vote.
Yep.
There was a reduced one. The black vote was less than it had been 4 years ago. So, I mean, that kind of might show that there was less motivation. Maybe they're, they weren't as scared as on a whole, on a grand scale than what the media portrayal was. Certainly, some people are acting like, we got to get out of the country. Everything's going to hell. But that's not what the population as a whole thinks.
No, of course not. And I can't stand either. This is what I have to bring up because obviously I'm sure many people that are listening to this podcast and identify themselves as libertarians, big or little L, have been encountering this. Oh, you know what? You voted third party and it's your fault that Trump won, which is moronic because I was looking at our forum, looking at our own internal Lions of Liberty email group and the conversations we've had. We were pretty much all of us going for Donald Trump if we would not have gone libertarian, because that's just the way that libertarians seem to have gone. Unless you're a hashtag never Trumper, you probably look at Donald Trump's platform. His tax reform is good. His healthcare reform is actually excellent. This and with the reality that the wall's different.
Let's hold on a second here.
Well, you don't like his healthcare reform?
Repeal and replace with what? I don't think he's
doing healthcare. Dude, read his, he's got a good plan. It's a repeal Obamacare, replace it with healthcare savings accounts. You can deduct payment for children and the elderly from your taxes. It's actually, it's a good plan. I'm telling you. And he wants to open up the insurance across borders.
He has window dressing. It's not something that's really going to be a comprehensive replacement as of yet, but perhaps I'm wrong. But I do want to point out, look, Trump has said many horrible things. He wants to kill families of, I don't think I don't know that he wants to, but he said, kill the families of terrorists.
Right, which of course is Saddam Hussein's tactic.
Clearly, he's threatened to sue media outlets, TV stations because of their message.
Yep.
So he's hardly libertarian, and I'm hardly overjoyed that he won. Compared to Clinton, I guess better, just because I really dislike Clinton, and I think she's a warmonger, and she's trying to pick a fight with Russia for whatever reason. So, he's shades of gray better than Clinton, but I wouldn't say I was overly thrilled that he won. But, look, it was either him or her, and
right.
Really dislike her, so that's what's left.
Well, exactly. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying we were head over heels enthusiastic about Trump. We bashed Trump plenty. And like you said, though, I voted for Gary Johnson. But if it comes down to it, who would I have rather seen come out on top? I would have rather Trump. And that was the majority opinion in the forum, too, was people would say we're trending more Trump than Clinton because of, the warmongering, because she's untrustworthy, because of the corruption, because of the record of legislation, the non-focus on justice reform. Just there's a numerous things, continuation of Obamacare with an effort to put in a universal health care, which she was passionate about when she was first lady. I mean, there's a million reasons to hate Hillary Clinton. There's 1,000 reasons to hate Trump. So it's the lesser of two evils, like I said. But that's what pisses me off about the third party argument, though, that it lost Clinton the election somehow, is that I'm sorry, most of the people that voted Libertarian would probably have gone for Trump, and most of the people of the Green Party would probably have gone for Clinton, although the Green Party, negligible.
Yeah. So I saw a breakdown. I think there was 13 swing states, and the whole argument that, Gary Johnson somehow cost Clinton the election just doesn't hold water at all. No. Like you said, he's probably pulling more people from the right than the left. If anything, there's a small argument that perhaps Jill Stein cost Clinton in a state or two. I think one state, I forget which one, she had 1.1% of the vote, and Clinton lost by 0.6%. But, what should everyone has to be limited to two candidates? That's why we're in this bullshit to begin with, where we have Trump versus Clinton. There's no good answer there, but everyone says, "Oh, you gotta vote for one of the two." That's bullshit.
Right.
I don't identify with either one of them.
Right. And they go, well, this year it's so important though that, come on, look at, we got this guy or this girl. It's so important that you vote. It's like, you know what? Every year it's going to be the same shit. So it's always going to be that way with people that are consider themselves Democrats or Republicans. They always think the great evil is on the other side. And Bill Maher even was talking about this, how he had demonized, we've demonized the opposition so much. And we said that everybody's been the great evil. Oh, Romney's the great evil. And he goes, you know what? I should have saved my rhetoric, because when somebody actually comes along I don't like, I've used it all up. It's the cry wolf syndrome. So these guys, people, you got to cast your vote third party at some point. Why not this year? Why not every year? Because you need to build up confidence that it's possible for this stuff to keep going and the movement to grow. People need to see it as a viable alternative. And that's what this is. More than anything, you have to cast that vote. Even if it's not going to win this year. You vote what you believe in. Just like Gary Johnson said in his high pitched, post-election speech.
Well, the other thing is, the president is not meant to be a dictator. This is why there's three branches of government. This is why there's, Congress. And people have for far too long just kind of accepted, if you're on the left, all the executive orders that Obama did were, because of obstructionist Congress.
Yeah, they're perfectly justified.
So when your guy's in power, great. And the right was like that under Bush, too. So you know what? Great. Now that Trump's in office, let's all keep a very close eye on what he's doing and kind of do our best to rein in what he's able to do unilaterally, which is the way it was meant to be to begin with. So maybe this could be a blessing in disguise to say, hey, this executive has far too much power and Trump's this ultimate evil, quote unquote. So we got to watch him, and, we'll see. I mean, that would be a nice byproduct if actually the executive finally got
reined in, and it was actually checks and balances. I said that exact same thing actually to a coworker earlier today, that exact point. It's like, that's the silver lining to all of this, is that possibly executive orders will be reined in. Now let's talk about, obviously enough Trump Clinton talk. We've done a lot of that. So let's talk about the man that this show is named after. Let's talk about Gary Johnson and Bill Weld and their campaign. I mean, the tally, I don't know what the
name made me so mad.
So mad. God, it's so mad. It's like, I'm drinking now. I was going to give a toast to the end of this show, but I think I'm just drinking it now because I'm angry thinking about it. But yeah, you talk about looking back, all of the gaffes, and you try to list off the positives that Gary did. Like, we were giving him points early on in the show, our very sophisticated Johnson-off system. But we were giving him Johnsons early on just for simple things, just hitting libertarian talking points. But as the campaign goes on, you can't keep rewarding him for just hitting simple talking points. And half the time, he would fuck those talking points up. So it just became gaffe after gaffe. The Aleppo thing, which we tried to brush off, it was a little bit overblown, but then, his performance in talking to the media, his sticking out his tongue with the media, then playing off the, further questioning when he was asked about world leaders and all this other stuff. He was beyond incompetent. And the way this campaign is run is beyond incompetent.
It was. And that's the biggest disappointment in the whole thing is with these two candidates, there was real room for a libertarian to make a Ross Perot type connection to a lot of people. And I don't know if people remember back, I think it was 92, Perot was actually leading the race.
He was, yeah.
In July as a third party. He was in the 30s, and he was beating the first Bush and Clinton, and then some kind of minor scandal. He pulled out, and then he got back in a month and a half, 2 months later, and the momentum was gone. But he still got, I think, maybe 20%.
Yeah.
And, with the new, Hillary and Trump, there was definitely a possibility that a libertarian could, connect with the public and reach that level and then be thought of as a major factor in races going forward. And they did nothing to make the average person take notice of them besides snicker.
Right. Besides the fuck ups. Exactly. And they were completely, from the very start, Gary Johnson is not someone that inspires you in any way. His mannerisms are uninspiring. He's always talking into his chest a bit. He's always, he doesn't come across as somebody that you would say, yes, I want that person to lead my country. And, I hate to say it, but a vast amount of Americans need somebody up there that's going to be robust and strong and confident. And Gary Johnson never seemed that way. At the very end of the campaign, he started getting fired up over everything because, he's like, I got to show him I'm powerful and strong. But even in that, he just looked crazy.
Yeah. And he was like, well, I've been the butt of a joke for 3 months. So finally he got some emotion, which is great, but too little, too late. And the fact is, he ran for president 4 years ago. To not know what's expected on this stage is inexcusable. It's not, he should have known that anyways. But the fact is, he ran for president in 2012. He should know, I need to take this serious. I need to, be on point with my foreign policies. I need to articulate my domestic policies very well, and not this socially tolerant, or whatever.
Exactly. Fiscally conservative, socially tolerant.
I mean, that's not even a libertarian. It's such it's a narrow
oversimplification.
Yeah. It's absurd that's what his platform, his "Make America Great" kind of tagline was.
Well, I think their whole platform essentially was, and how he got elected in the first place is he ran in 2012 badly. And then, he came back and their whole platform was basically, hey, we used to be governors and we're right in the middle of both of you, without any hardcore things that people could latch on and believe in, or solid concrete talking points that people could rally behind.
And then to cap it all off, you have your vice presidential candidate basically campaigning for one of the other parties on national media.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
It's beyond a slap in the face to everyone who supported the libertarian movement to say, yeah, Clinton, I need to be here to vouch for Clinton. No, you don't. That is not what you're here for. If you need to vouch for Clinton, drop out or get off the ticket because you're not a libertarian. You never were a libertarian.
And I want to read that quote because it angered me so much, and it was unbelievable in every way. So here's what he said. Well, I'm here vouching for Mrs. Clinton, and I think it's high time somebody did. Because, and this is me, because God knows not enough people are vouching for Hillary Clinton out there throughout the establishment and all the shills for the left. And then the media shills who have met with her campaign. But anyway, I digress. He said this on the Rachel Maddow show. This is a continuation of his quote. I'll just read it from start to finish. Well, I'm here vouching for Mrs. Clinton, and I think it's high time somebody did. And I'm doing it based on my personal experience with her. And I think she deserves to have people vouch for her other than members of the Democratic National Committee. So I'm here to do that. Now,
hey, you know what?
Go ahead.
Just to interrupt. First of all, she doesn't deserve that. Second of all, you know what Gary Johnson deserved is a running mate who would campaign for him.
Or just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
exactly.
That's what, your job as the VP is to campaign for your president, be a shill for your president, defend your president. And if you're not going to do that, shut the fuck up. I didn't hear much from Mike Pence or Tim Cannon. I guess they did their one debate, but for the most part, you don't hear anything about him. But Bill Weld, always in the news, hungry for the news, seeking out interviews so he can shill for Hillary Clinton while on the libertarian ticket.
The only kind of disappointment, and I wouldn't really, disappointment's a bad word, but the interesting thing is if Hillary did win, what kind of position Weld would have gotten, because then it would have been very clear what he really was. But I guess that's out the window.
Some sort of minor cabinet member, undersecretary to the attorney general, which, by the way, I think Rudy Giuliani is going to be the new attorney, or not attorney, the head of the agriculture, I believe, is where Rudy Giuliani is settling in.
Any Rudy Giuliani appointment is a huge dump. If we're gonna,
it's just so awful. Oh God! The only thing that'll be interesting is I don't want to make fun of his lisp. I kind of do, because I hate it. God, I hate Rudy Giuliani so much. Oh, he's a nightmare. But yeah, getting back to Weld and this whole ticket. Look, I don't know if putting McAfee out there and Larry Sharp, which would have been my ticket, or Mark Feldman. Honestly, a Feldman Sharp ticket would have been great. Of course, tragically, Mark Allen Feldman died, so I guess that wouldn't have turned out well for us. But I mean, I don't know how it would have turned out. McAfee is a loose cannon, but you know what? He can carry himself well. He's a very, very smart man. He can get people behind him. He's quick on his feet, and he does inspire confidence. I mean, the guy inspires confidence. Larry Sharp, very smart, intelligent man, but they put forth these two. One's a bumbling idiot who inspires no confidence, and one is clearly a plant. And if he's not a plant, he's just a self-centered guy who doesn't give a shit about the party and never did. And it's a tragedy that our delegates put these people forth. Like you know what's good about this? I'm inspired. I want to be a delegate now. I might even try to get somewhere. I might even run for local commission. I might try to get involved with the party more. And I don't consider myself a big L libertarian, but it pisses me off so badly that it's inspiring me. So you know what? Johnson, for being so shitty that you inspired me to do more.
Well, yeah, I guess that's good. I don't want to think about all the people he turned off from the movement.
Well, hey, it did grow. It got 3%. It should have gotten more.
Is that really growth when they just ran the two shittiest main party candidates and that I can
it's remember? Not. It would be funny as if the party actually shrank, but people were just like, well, I don't know. I hate both these guys. And the next guy on the ballot's Gary. Check. Might have just been accidental.
You know what? I didn't feel as bad voting for Gary, which I ultimately did, because I almost thought it was a slap in the face to Bill Weld to vote for him, because he so clearly wanted us to vote for someone else. So it's like the one time in history where you could say, I'm voted for you, and it's a F you at the same time.
Right, yeah, so, exactly. It's a protest vote against Bill Weld to actually vote for their ticket rather than Hillary.
He's like, damn it, I wanted you to vote for Clinton.
I did everything. Weren't you listening to my many interviews? I was clearly working it in there. It's like when Kevin Nealon used to do the subliminal messaging guy. You know, you remember that from Saturday Night Live?
I do.
Yeah, he just talking about, well, I want you to vote for Gary Johnson, vote for Clinton. And then make sure that when you cast your vote on ballot day, put it for Clinton. Yeah, so just like that. So this is at 33 minutes. Do you want something to add there, Rico?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. We're at 33 minutes. I want to try to keep this short. So I want to talk a little bit about Gary's short speech. I just played that at the top of the thing. It's not worth really going into. It was a nothing speech. It was just kind of like rah rah. Yeah, we grew the party. Keep fighting. That kind of bullshit. So it wasn't great. Bill Weld, of course. He was there, but he has got nothing to say anymore.
I thought he was at Clinton headquarters waiting to cheer for.
Yeah, he was in there crying in the audience with a mustache on, like a really bad mustache, and the nose and the glasses, so nobody would recognize him. But I did get a post-election email from Gary Johnson today thanking me for my support. Now, granted, that support was not financial, emotional, or in any way other than my vote. But I did get a thank you. I just want to read a quick part of it, and then we can discuss it. So he said that it's a rare privilege to play a part shaping the future of the great nation, offering Americans an honorable, principled choice in this election, and being joined by thousands of supporters and volunteers to make a credible third-party ticket for the national conversation. He thinks we took significant steps forward reshaping the political landscape. I don't know if I would go that far. And he's proud and grateful. Then he goes on to say, this campaign was not about Bill Weld and me. It was not even about 2016. It was about a small government, greater freedom movement that I am confident will take hold and grow well beyond this election. It was about showing millennials, young people, and all Americans that they do not have to blindly accept a two-party duopoly. We have hopefully set the stage for that movement to flourish and have real success at the polls. There's a little bit more. We don't need to go into it. He wishes the president-elect our best wishes, which I think is a good thing. He should do that. I mean, look, we can gnash our teeth, but it is time to move on and look for better things. So, Rico, what do you think about his final emailed statement to us all?
So just to be clear, Gary is not challenging the election.
He's not going to be taken to the streets to fight against the results. No, I don't think he's accusing anybody of blocking pollsters or blocking people from accessing the polls of the Libertarian Party.
Like it was the rigging against me. Otherwise, I'd be in D.C. Just like we were saying, I don't really think he did set the stage for further growth. I think people voted for him as an alternative to these two particular candidates, but there's not a figure right now that is, that we know some figures that may be poised to kind of take the next step with the party, but it's not, I don't think the mainstream public knows yet, which would have been the key thing. Like if say Larry Sharpe was in there and people heard him talk, and they're like, wow, this guy's inspiring. Let's follow him over the next 4 years. Or, like Ron Paul when he ran in 08.
Yeah, excited people.
He inspired people to follow him for the next 4 years and continuing on. No one's doing that with Gary Johnson. No one's going to let's see what Gary Johnson's up to now. Or effing Bill Weld. So there's not a figure right now that has kind of broken through to a large segment of the mainstream public. So I think I don't buy what he's saying. I think it's a failure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I totally agree. And by the way, what's the countdown to when Gary Johnson dies on a mountain hiking somewhere? We're going to see the next time we hear about Gary Johnson, it's going to be because Tuk Tuk, the Sherpa, pulled him down on his like a sling made of wood he found in an old T-shirt. But yeah, man, I mean, there's no, I agree. There's not anything that you can continue on and say, look at this. Now, the one good thing that did come of this election for us is that Rand Paul did get elected back. He won his Senate seat back pretty authoritatively too. I think he won like 70%. He really stomped the crap out of the guy. And that's a good thing because as much shit as we gave Rand in our Rand pluses and minuses, you know what? He would have been by far and away the best candidate that we could have possibly hoped for in this election cycle.
See, I might have been the one. Say Rand did get the Republican nomination and he lost to Hillary, then I might be one of the ones crying. But
yeah, true.
I guess
I don't think
he
would have won. I think he would have won. I mean, I talked to so many people that were Democrats and I asked them straight up. I asked my buddy. I have one buddy. I won't name him on the show, but he is. I'm with her. All this bullshit. And I asked him straight up, I said, okay, man, you're with Hillary, but if Rand Paul was running right now, would you vote for him or would you vote for Hillary? And he said, I'd vote for Rand Paul. And I think a lot of Democrats would have jumped ship and voted for Rand Paul. I mean, hell, a lot of Democrats actually voted for Trump. They had to. Otherwise, this election would have gone to Hillary. So Rand Paul would have run away with it. The GOP, I'm sure, is happy that Trump won, but they would have had a much more logical candidate in Rand Paul if they hadn't driven him out and if Hillary's camp hadn't helped to drive Rand out in lieu of Donald. But I mean, I'm hopeful that now with Rand back in the Senate, he's hopefully in a position where he'll be able to work with Trump and be more of a central part, like in foreign policy, get on the foreign policy committee. And that if he becomes a real leader, I don't think he'll become libertarian. Who knows? Maybe he will, but he's somebody we can at least point to and say, okay, there's a guy that we can at least have some hope in that might get our ideals further ingrained into the GOP. And if not, at least have those ideas where people can say, okay, I like what he's doing there. Even if I don't like the GOP, the Libertarian Party is taking those ideals and running with them.
Yeah, exactly. I was very relieved to see that he was going to win. Like you said, he's now not a first-term senator anymore. So, his power or whatever you want to say, his influence can only grow a little bit. He's been pretty staunchly anti-intervention, anti-war. So he remains a voice in the Senate that's, critical going forward. So, he's never going to be a libertarian. He said, I'm not a libertarian, which is fine. You don't have to claim to be something that you don't believe you are.
Well,
but
and
he
also
definitely has a lot.
And we were getting pissed off that people were calling him a libertarian, and rightly so, because there's certain positions that he's not libertarian on, that he would be referred to as Libertarian Ryan Paul with shit that does not jive with any part of what libertarians believe. So it's good that he does make that distinction.
Yeah. But so I mean, it's great going forward that he's still there, and hopefully, we'll hear a lot more from him. And I did find he was on one of the, Fox, CNN, whatever this morning, where he was talking about waiting to see all these people who claim to be moving to Canada. He was like, I can't wait to see the first one leave. So, which is just nonsense. It's like, come on, people. You can whine and cry, but at the end of the day, we'll see what really happens.
Yeah, no one's moving to Canada. All right, well, I think that'll wrap it up. I mean, I'd say overall, this whole schmagegi gets a giant John's off, in my opinion, for the missed opportunities, the lack of inspiration, just the overall candidacy as a whole. Yep. But hey, man, let's still, Rico, I don't know if you're drinking over there, but let's raise a glass and toast to the end of, if nothing else, a fascinating election year.
It's been more than a year, and it's been crazy.
It has
been very interesting to watch and go over. So
and be a part of. You're a part of it, buddy. You're a part of the news media.
A part of history.
Exactly. And guys, speaking of history, Mr. Johnson's Libertyhood will be history. This will be the last episode. There's a chance I might put together a clip show just highlighting some of our goofier moments, just for the hell of it, to take us into and through the Christmas year. But, this will be the last official episode, but don't be disheartened. There are plans for the new year, so stay tuned. I'll be back. Rico, I'm sure, will be back with me as my Bill Weld that undermines me at every possible moment. And this will be part of the show that replaces it. We're going to do some fun stuff. We're going to have regular segments that are in the format of the John's On, John's Off, Rand Paul Us's and minuses, and possibly even Trump or Dump. So stay tuned, guys. We're excited for the near future. And I thank you all for listening to Mr. Johnson's Libertyhood so much. A big thank you to Goulash Media and all the work they do to give us fun pictures. And Rico, thank you for being a regular and wonderful contributor to the show.
Oh, nothing I'd rather be doing, my friend.
Yep. And this show, I'm just going to let the entire Mr. Johnson's Libertyhood theme song play out to take us out. No live long, live free today. Just Mr. Johnson's Libertyhood. We'll see you guys later. It's a beautiful day in this Libertyhood, a beautiful day for a candidate. Would he be mine? Could he be mine? It's a Liberty day in this Johnsonwood, a Liberty-ish day for a Gary. Would he be mine? Could he be mine? I've never wanted to have a candidate just like you. I've always wanted to have a real libertarian who's schooled. But let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would he be mine? Could he be mine? As long as he acts libertarian. Won't you please, won't you please, please won't you be a principled libertarian?